Hello. My name is Maximus, and this is my coming out as a Jehovah's Witness story. Before we start, I want to make it clear that the reason I'm filming this is not to bash on anybody who is a witness, to like garner a lot of attention or get like millions of views or get this viral or anything. The main reason I'm filming this is for the people who used to be like me, who were confused and lost when it came to their sexuality and their involvement with the religion. And I want to be someone who can be there for them. You know, even if not in person, just through this video. Because I know it's through videos like this that I was able to finally come out as bisexual. Let's back up a little bit. So, I am bisexual, that's how I identify, but I lean a lot heavier towards men. So if I say, oh, I'm gay, or oh, I'm bisexual, like interchangeably in this video, like that's why. So let's just get started. I was always very effeminate growing up. And I never thought anything of it. I thought I was the coolest kid on the block, you know? I would not like to play with trucks. I would love to play with my sister, play with the Barbies. Always just wanting to do effeminate things, and nobody really said anything, especially not in the church. I say church, especially not in the Kingdom Hall, because they all assumed, oh, it's just a phase, Max will grow out of it. Max is like everybody else. Max is normal. Max is straight, because that's what normal is. And of course, as you're watching this, you obviously know that's not really the case. There are points in my life, as far as I can remember, you know, when I was 5, where I look back and I would think, wow, that was really gay. But my kind of journey with finding out my sexual orientation in my interaction with the religion really started in 8th grade. There was a new boy in our Kingdom Hall. For the purpose of this video, all names are either going to be changed or omitted because I don't want people to know, obviously. There's this new boy at the Kingdom Hall, and let's call him Jonah. So this new boy Jonah at the Kingdom Hall, and I thought he was the bee's knees, honestly. He was so cute to me. I always wanted to hang out with him. And here's the thing, is I have had this feeling before, or I had had this feeling before, just this really strong desire to be friends with boys in the Kingdom Hall. And I always assume that's something everybody has, and oh, I really want to be friends with this guy, Jonah was different, because this kind of desire to be friends kind of turned into a desire to be with him. So, because he lived in the area, he went to my Kingdom Hall, he also happened to go to my school. And every day I would see him in school, and I would walk past him in the hallways, and it was really awkward because he was new to the Kingdom Hall, so we didn't really know each other that well. But Kingdom Hall culture is if you are part of the hall, then we're kind of automatically linked in a way, you know? We have the connection of Jehovah on our sides. What I remember though is that I would be walking around school just having a jolly old time with all my friends who were all girls, you know, clue number 1. And I was just having a jolly old time, and I would see Jonah in the hallways, and I would immediately just like just stare, like completely like rudely, obviously just like and I just stare at him. And this happened like all the time. I would eat lunch and stare at the back of his head. I just like be eating lunch with my gals, you know, we talking, we having a good time, and I'd just be like, like, eating my lunch, staring at the back of this kid's head, the back of Jonah's head. And just, I was so nervous to talk to him. And it just, this went on for basically the entire year of 8th grade. Just my kind of obsession with this guy just like growing and growing, and seeing him at the Kingdom Hall and seeing him at school and just like ogling him like all the time. And then I started to realize some unspoken part of me started accepting the fact that like, hey, you like this guy, like you like him, like this is like your relationship with like your friends, this is kind of like your relationship with this guy, like you like him. And that was terrifying. I remember I would go home and I'd be so distraught, and I'd go, my family had this bookshelf where we kept all of our religious literature, all of our literature from the congregation. And I remember I would, like, in the middle of the night when nobody was looking, I would go to this bookshelf and take the Young People Asks book, volume 1 and 2, I remember, and I would look up the sections on homosexuality and just read them and reread them almost every single night. I remember they likened, and y'all can fact check me on this, they likened, I forget which book it was, but they likened homosexuality to smoking, in that you don't hate the smoker, but you hate the action that the smoker is doing, and that smoking is a choice, and some people have stronger urges for this kind of thing, but you just have to make that choice to not follow through with that urge. And I thought about this, I pondered this kind of analogy to smoking for a long time. And kids at school caught on to like my sexuality much sooner than like I had like even realized or accepted it. So they'd always be like, Max, like, are you gay? Like really like whispering, like, you know how middle schoolers are. Like, Max, it's like, are you gay? And I was be like, no. And I remember one time I was having this discussion with one of my friends, and she's like, oh, I just think that like gay people, you know, should have rights, blah blah blah. And I was like, I disagree, because they're like smokers. She's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, like smoking, like you choose to smoke, and that's how being gay is. And I remember I was just trying to like relay the information I had been fed through the Young People Asks book, and I had read it so many times. I should have known it off the top of my head, but I didn't. And she just gave me this look, and she's like yikes, like. But she didn't really say anything, because I think she knew that I was like already going through like internal struggles, which I was. Which brings me to all the struggles I went through, and are still going through because of this. So I basically had two halves of myself. I had this one half that said, this is Max, it's undeniable that you have these feelings for guys, and that these, you know, feelings you have, they're not gonna go away. They are who you are. And they had this other half, which was my religious half, which is, you know, this was 8th grade, so all the 15 years of kind of conditioning, saying, you know, homosexuality is a choice, gay people are sinners, and they will not, you know, inherit the kingdom of heaven, go to paradise earth once Armageddon is over. So I had these kind of two halves of myself, just all constantly, like whenever I looked at a guy, basically. um, fighting it out in my head. And it caused a lot of turmoil, just a lot of sleepless nights, wondering why I existed, wondering why this was my existence. And I remember one night, very vividly, it had been going on for months now, and I had started developing depression really bad. And I was on my floor, and I was crying, like, inconsolable. I remember I was covering my mouth, like this. I was covering my mouth because I didn't want to wake up the rest of my family, and I didn't want for them to see me in this state. And I remember I had always talked to my mom, you know, saying, oh, because I never really was comfortable going to the elders or going to my parents about this kind of thing, because I had experiences in the past where my parents had seen a gay couple on TV, and they would say something along the lines of like, ew, or like, change the channel, like, that's disgusting. And the elders, I didn't want to go to the elders because I didn't know if this is something I wanted to change about myself yet. So I really wasn't comfortable going to anybody. But I asked my mom, and what she would say, I'd ask my mom kind of vague questions, like, if I happen to be going through something, like, what should I do? And the first thing she told me was, like, pray. Like, pray every day, every night. You know, God acts in mysterious ways, so if it doesn't work the first time, just keep on praying. You know, pray until you fall asleep. And, you know, things will work out. So that's what I did. For a lot of helpless nights, I prayed. And this one night, I was on the floor, I was inconsolable, tears streaming down my face, covering my mouth. I didn't want to wake up the rest of my family and have them see me like this. And I remember praying out loud this time. And I said, oh, Jehovah God, you know, if you love me, and if you really do love, like, your children, you know, your creations, you know, the people who follow you, please just kill me right now. I can't go on another day like this. And I started wailing, basically, just through my kind of muffled breaths underneath my hand. I was wailing. And I sat there, and I laid there for what felt like hours. It was probably only like 10 minutes. Just crying, waiting for something to happen, waiting for God to do something. For Jehovah to end me. Just have me disappear, just poof, gone. But nothing happened. And I think that's the day where I truly lost my faith. Because I had been going through so much turmoil. Just so much inner fighting, and, you know, believing that I was wrong and that none of these publications that I'm reading are working, you know. Trying to fight the urge of liking men, but never being able to fight it hard enough. And when I finally gave up, asked to be, you know, killed, basically, and God didn't deliver, I think that was the day that I realized that I believe that night I was talking to myself, and only myself. I don't believe anybody else was there to listen to me. And ever since then, I felt alone. I deal with severe depression and really bad anxiety, and I've gone through eating disorders and pulling out my hair, and it hasn't been easy. And a lot of the times I feel alone. It was that night when somewhere inside me, I realized that I could not go on living like this. That I either needed to leave the religion, take some dramatic action to fix my life, or just end it all. Because this wasn't sustainable. So So I decided to go to my mom, and I told her that I think I was, I think I had depression. I think I was depressed, and I think I need to go on medication just the night after. And I remember she was very dismissive. She said, oh, like, you don't have depression, like, you're just angsty, you're an angsty teen, you're just going through things, you don't have depression, you don't need medication, you're being overdramatic. So just a message to parents, any parents who are watching, instead of dismissing your kid who believes they might have mental illness, really sit down and talk with them and hear what they have to say and what they've been experiencing, because that dismissal from my mom just made things a whole lot worse. And it wasn't until about 6 months later that I was actually finally able to get the help, medication, and counseling that I needed to get through this. So the reason I'm telling you guys all these things is not to scare you. It's not to dissuade you from coming out. It's actually the exact opposite. I have struggled so much in my life. I have lost friends, really amazing friends, and close family because of who I am and what I can't change. And there are residual effects from being in the religion that I deal with every single day. But none of that even comes close to comparing to the freedom that I feel now that I am able to be myself. As of now, I have a wonderful boyfriend who I love so much. I am, on a really good medication and I'm living the life that I want to be living. And I'm not beholden to anybody else, or beholden to a higher power, or a council of elders, or the governing body itself. I am me. And the only person that decides what I do is myself. So to all of you out there who are thinking of coming out, or scared to come out, or are dealing with the exact same problems that I was going through, with the two halves of yourself constantly in conflict, I don't want anybody to come out if they don't feel like they're in a safe situation. But if you feel like you're ready, and if you feel that you can't live like you've been living anymore, and that you need to break free like I needed to, then I'd say come out right away. Tell your parents, tell your school friends. Oh, you don't need to tell everybody, but make it known. Make it known that you are in control of yourself, and that you love yourself no matter what. Because you'll feel, once you do that, it'll be hard, and I'm not saying it's not going to be hard. But the feeling of being free after years of confinement is like nothing else. Nothing else in this entire world. This channel is not really like a story time channel. There's not going to be a lot of these, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of these kind of personal, intimate videos. I mainly made this channel to express my love for cinematography and film, and I have a lot of projects in mind that I'm really happy to get started on, but I felt like this was necessary. So if you see, interlaced between my projects, just a couple of these kind of sit down talks, or just me spouting whatever nonsense I want to spout on that particular day. Don't be surprised, because that's just who I am. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope those of you that are in the position that I was in were able to get some feedback and were able to hopefully help you make a decision in the future, or right now. So just thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.